We're back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game Worn Hockey Podcast. Doc Noise, Wade Hampton, this fantastic evening. There was recording this on Thursday, June 22nd. Some big breaking news this afternoon. We'll touch base on it, but there's going to be a full episode coming next week that will cover it all. But some of the other things that happened this past week, got some pictures from the Detroit Red Wings sale. Heard things weren't too out of line, but some great overhead shots of the sale itself. Beautiful big area for them to do it, kind of like the Sharks do. Also, the Sharks are now, and we've touched about it in the past, if you're out that way, or maybe reach out to Paul or others, they're doing basically weekly sales. So Paul said he'll have a report on their next sale when he's on next week with us. So you joined the sale last Thursday, week from today. The St. Louis Blues season ticket holder entry was yes. Thursday night, and then a regular sale was Saturday. Heard some other kind of mixed reports on both Thursday and Saturday, but what did you see?
So, I mean, I got there a little early and had got in. I was probably the fifth or sixth person in line with some friends.
And that's always, again, real quick, go back. That's always the best part, is you getting there early, getting in line, and seeing the people you may talk to online, but catch up in person, say, hey, what have you picked up? What are you looking for? All that fun stuff. The fun hobby interaction.
Doors open at 5. I got there a little after 3, probably 3:15, 3:20. Parked right in the garage, which was great. They made that free, which was very nice of them. I think it also was a safety thing, so that's pretty cool. When I got there, I was able to jump in line probably 6. There was probably 10 or 12 people at that point. By the time the doors opened at 5, there was a few hundred people in line, wow. I guess. Kind of like down and then like looped around. I would guess there's probably at least 100, 150 would be my guess.
And that was this was for full season ticket holders.
Full season ticket only, correct. And you know, I think one of the big draws again this year is they're doing like youth hockey equipment. So I'm going to misquote the prices, but I want to say you could get like elbow pads or a helmet and like stuff like that for like $15 or $20 for like new youth helmets and gloves.
I'm curious
and
where the hell that stuff came from, because I've never seen another team do that, especially for new gear.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool, I guess. It seemed like there was a lot of kids and a lot of people that took advantage of that. For us collector types, the one thing that was weird for me was a lot of our regulars, such as yourself and a couple other people, have started to opt out of getting there early. You know, considering we used to go down, 8 when it opened in the morning at 9 or 10, we got down there at midnight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of changed a little bit, and I think also the format with them going to the season ticket holder kind of changes that. I did not go down Saturday. My guess is there was probably more of a line and probably some people that did like an earlier run-in for that.
Yeah, because it opened at what, like 10 or 12, I think.
10 or 12, yeah. So I would be willing to bet some. I wasn't there, but I'd be venturing a guess that people probably got there 7, 8, 9 o'clock would be my guess.
So unfortunately, I was in South Dakota, so you were relaying all this.
Yeah, I took some pictures. I put it on our group. It was the same setup as last year, which is you go in by the parking garage, you walk to the left and looped around past the main team store there. So you have a little bit of a walk, and then it kind of opened up into, the first thing was like practice jerseys, and then there was a big wall of sticks on the left. On the right, there was skates and some goalie pads, and then gloves and helmets. The game used part of it was pretty weak, I guess is the best way to put it. And the prices was a little like, I don't collect certain things. So like, sticks, I think were $100 and then $150 if they were signed. They had practice jerseys that were $50 for some old Reebok style ones with some off numbers. And then there was a handful, probably 15 or so Adidas ones. I think most of them were black or gray. And I think those were $125 I think was what it was.
And that's not out of line with the Adidas one.
No, but there wasn't. I mean, I think the reason that the people aren't coming as hot and heavy is because they know leading into it that there's not going to be the same stuff it's not going to be the way it was years ago when they did those jerseys, or even before the big jersey sale when they always had jerseys for $75 or $100 and they'd have tables of them, preseason and what have you. leftovers, call ups and that kind of stuff. And I also think that, back then they were doing helmets for $50 or $75. Well, the helmets this time were $250.
Yep.
So again, not the primo stuff unless you probably grabbed the first one or second one, or if somehow the employees and whoever, that's the one thing that's kind of weird about it is the employees of the Blues. And I think some other people get in ahead of the season ticket holders even. So
and
like,
a lot of teams do that. Cause I know the Sharks break it down for ownership, employees, box owners, the regular season ticket holders. So not common.
No. And I'm not complaining about it by any means, but you do see some people walking out with an armful of stuff. If anybody is an educated collector and, if you get that free time to walk in there ahead of anybody, if there was one or two good helmets, I'm sure those got snatched up pretty quick. And they also got, get first run at the sticks and stuff.
Oh, sure.
As I'm primarily a jersey collector. So, I really went to represent the podcast and also our Blues group, and also just to see if I could help out any friends with stuff. I knew going into it, the chances of me finding anything besides some apparel were, slim to none, unless I found a cool banner or, something that snuck through to me. Not very well. You got some of my wonderful work.
Yep. Pulling up some of the pictures here.
Yeah. I actually pulled, so those were taken after the rush. What I did is I went through and then I walked back. I walked around and went back in to retake pictures just so people could see the setup.
And done all through the concourse for anybody that's not been to Enterprise Center. It's on the back side of Enterprise from the main entry there.
So the one thing that there was a ton of apparel.
Just a little bit of reverse retro stuff here.
Yeah, that was all 50% off, all the reverse retro stuff. And I mean, there was actually more racks of those jerseys. And the funny part was I think they also still had racks in the regular team store that were included in the sale. So I think they were really, really working heavy to get rid of that stuff. A lot of it, though, was also I think in the front there, you can see a bunch of Benningtons, but there were also a lot of O'Reilly, Tarasenko, and some guy some of the guys that got traded or moved on.
And if some of those were heat pressed too,
those were all the whatever. They did have I saw 2 or 3 racks, which I don't know if I even got a picture of some it looked like made up stuff that was made up of more random players, some Torpachenko jerseys, some stuff like that, that they were also selling that I think either had come from the team store and they were onesie twosies that were also discounted. I guess the one thing that I saw that interested me was, and it made it kind of hard, was a lot of the racks and a lot of the stuff they had was the real premium brand apparel stuff. Travis Matthew and some of the really higher end stuff. And they were advertising that stuff was all 50% off. So, which is great, but I actually
it's $150 to start.
Yeah. So I went and grabbed a polo shirt at one point I actually grabbed 2 of them for 2 friends who live out of the area, who said, "Oh, grab us a polo shirt." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll get you one." You in the past I could get one of those for $25, which was no big deal.
Sure.
So I grabbed 2 nice ones. They weren't even Travis Matthews. They were another brand. I can't remember, but it was one of their premium brands. The original sticker on those was $119. So the half off on that is still $65. So it was
I can get player hoodies for less than that.
So I guess that was the only thing. And I guess that was the only thing that I guess disappoints me now moving forward. A lot of times with the summer sales is, the olden days, there used to be tons of $10 or $15 t-shirts and polo shirts and pullovers and hoodies and stuff. And it was kind of a more grab baggy kind of, just not, it was just more old inventory that they just threw out. Whereas now it seems like it's more designed to be a sale, but still a very controlled sale. If that makes sense.
And going through some of the more pictures here at the Pit of Misery, where they had the gloves there. I'm assuming these are former players at $100.
Yeah, I walked up and looked.
Ties.
So again, and the pictures were all from after the flow of the
Oh yeah, because
150 people.
everybody goes scrambling and got to grab and
Yeah.
look and yeah.
So the good gloves, like, a lot of the retro stuff or the reverse retro stuff or the heritage stuff, a lot of that stuff was gone. On the tables, there was, I saw some people get some good stuff. I heard somebody got like some Hofer and Bennington catchers and blockers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And on that table, I saw some Mike Hoffman gloves. I saw some, Perron gloves, some, Tarasenko, and then a lot of lesser name guys. A lot of the stuff that was still remaining was either like guys that were call ups or coaches or unused or unmarked.
Sure. And a lot of times as like I've said, I buy stuff to play in and stuff is a lot of times Warrior and other brands will send players gloves to try. So you may pick up a pair of Warrior gloves that you go look up the player. Oh, there's some wear to them. And you go to look and wait, the player's in Bauer all year. Yeah. But they test them out preseason practice. Yeah. Player pants I see down there were 75 and player breezer covers were 35, which aren't bad at all.
No, that was there's the jerseys I was talking about. And then the socks, I missed a picture of the socks. The socks were like regular socks. And I think I saw some heritage ones in there. I know a couple people asked. I don't remember. Like, I think I would have noticed if there was like reverse retro or retro socks in there. Mm-hmm. I didn't see anything like that in there, to be honest with you. The stick selection was the stick selection was pretty impressive, and that got attacked. I mean, like that was it was really right at the front there, and you could tell like that thing there was piles and piles of people on top of each other there.
And looking through this picture, you can see, I mean, but certain guys, and I can't see what the silver ones are in the first. I can't see the nameplate well enough, but whoever that player is has a shit ton of sticks.
So there was funny ones in there. Like I ended up going back and looking through there, and I know somebody like there were Scott Gomez sticks in there.
Wow, and he's been gone several seasons.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking probably 10 years since he's been here. So, and those were even like taped red at the top. So my guess is those are probably ones that came along with him when he came from the Devils.
Yep.
And probably like were found in the back or the very back of something. So it just kind of lets you know how deep they did dig some stuff out.
Yeah. And $100 for unsigned. And as somebody that will buy, I mean, $100 stick for me to play because I don't have a hard shot, I'm not going to break them, is great because I can try some different patterns and different manufacturers and all that stuff. And it's $100. My problem is 80% or 90% of these sticks are left-handed. I'm right-handed.
Correct. So it seemed like a lot of them were, some of the ones that were left for light use. Like I said, there's a pair, I think those are Grice pads.
Yeah. What was funny is some pictures posted Saturday and the Blues said they would be refreshing the stuff as like between Thursday and Saturday. It's like 5 sets of pads came out on Saturday.
Yeah. And I think that's what, in the past we've talked to them about it. And what they do is, and they've said in the past when we've asked is they try to split the inventory in half so that the Saturday has an equal chance at the same stuff. Or it sounds like they put out some better stuff on Saturday because I don't think somebody had said there was Bennington pads there on Saturday. I'd heard that.
Yep. I think I've seen them pop up in a picture.
But on the helmets, you can see, I mean, like you can see the numbers. So there's nothing great there.
Yeah. And you see a mix of the ones with the blue note. Some are older and some are also practice and training camp, because in practice and training camp, the team goes back to blue notes. They do not wear the ads in either one of those places. I've got a ton of pictures of that, even to last preseason training camp stuff. I think it's the way those advertising contracts are is it's game only.
That's pretty cool. So like I said, it was a good experience. I think the only problem you have at the end, and it always is a problem, is that checkout line gets pretty wacky, especially because what happens is, it's no fault of them. I think they ended up opening the team store for checkout too, but that was a disaster. That's where I checked out. And that was a disaster because like there was no real way to loop into it.
Oh, sure.
So it was kind of crazy. And then like, that's the checkout line there. And that's after everybody had already kind of checked out, and that's the remaining people.
Wow. The second wave.
There was 4 lines, and a couple of the sides said like 10 items or less. And it was like, come on.
Just more of the merchandise side of things.
Yeah. Like hats were like, they had a bunch of hats. Like I said, they had some good stuff. there was a couple like good discounted stuff. I remember seeing Jordy Laterra t-shirts for $5. But
But
Jordy
terrible.
Laterra, yeah, he's been gone now for 5 years.
Yep.
So
Nice, good overhead shot here.
for sure. Like the Petros, I think those Petro t-shirts there, and then you can see like the Travis Matthews stuff right there. Those on the left, those quarter zips there. I mean, the sticker on those things was like 150 and up,
Wow.
175. So even at half price, you're still paying $100 for one of those. And I'm not to complain about it just being, it seemed like that was the stuff they were trying to clear out of there. And I think what it was is it seems like they had a lot of inventory and stuff because that's probably the stuff that doesn't sell really well on game days because it's so expensive.
Right.
Unless
People are going for player t-shirts, things like that.
unless you're a high roller or somebody like, God knows, I've unfortunately been a guy who's gone there and grabbed a quarter zip at the game and spent $100 on it. But if you're dad with wife and 3 kids and had to just spend $70 at High Point, to get a couple burgers and French fries and whatever and sodas,
a $65 beer.
Yeah, it's hard to for dad to jump into $170 pullover. But like I said, the Blues did a great job. I think that the ringside guys who put out the stuff did a fantastic job of giving people a pretty good variety of stuff.
Oh, sure.
And stuff that's desirable. I mean, like there was a bunch of guys, there was a lot of skates, a lot of people trying on skates. I think by the end of it, it looked like most of the skates were gone. And I always get a kick out of that because you can still see the people that are trying those things on because they're planning on using them, which I think is fantastic.
Well, those are $1,000 skates.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how that I picked up a pair last year or year before last. The Blues had just thrown up online. They weren't marked a player, but they had the fancy shot blockers on both sides.
Yeah.
They were in my size. And I'm like, you know what, for $100,
I'm in.
They're $1,000 true skates.
Yeah. So like I said, I was very impressed. I did like the youth hockey stuff. I think that if we're trying to grow the sport of hockey in any city, I think if you're somehow helping make playing hockey affordable for people and getting them into a helmet for cheap or getting them elbow pads and gloves and whatever else they were selling. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it. I think that's great. And I want to compliment the Blues for that too, because I do know that Rinkside has been setting up tables at Centene and doing that throughout the season. I know they had a couple other events that they were doing youth hockey equipment, and hats off to them for continuing to grow the sport and making stuff affordable for a lot of families that it's a very expensive sport.
And especially if that's a lot of that stuff is younger youth, they're going to use it a season and grow out of it. So it's not going to be heavily used. It can be passed on, traded, whatever you want to do. But yeah, you're right. That's a great thing. And I don't know that, and other people, if they hear this, reach out to me. If other NHL teams have done something like this, if you've seen your team do it, I'd be interested to hear that, because you're right. The St. Louis hockey market is insane. Youth hockey is off the charts here. And we continue to see all the number of kids from St. Louis be drafted and continue to just explode. I mean, we saw Matthew Tkachuk make it all the way to the finals and break his sternum. Unfortunately, Florida didn't win that, but you know what? It's the number of guys drafted out of St. Louis continues to go crazy, and a lot of cities are getting that way.
Absolutely. It's neat to see, so I saw the pictures from the Detroit one. I was impressed by that as well. The sales, the summer sales are always kind of interesting to me because they're all done differently based upon the organization. I've been kind of watching. I saw something interesting today with the Montreal Canadiens. I was on their game use page, and I guess they have a special like app group for like season ticket holders. And it looked like they're selling some jerseys on there for points. And I guess you acquire points by ticket purchases and, whatever you do during the season. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I kind of just threw that. I didn't mention it before that we went on the air, but that was interesting because I've got that stupid Mike Hoffman jersey collection. So I love that baby blue Canadiens jersey. So trying to see where that thing is. And then I saw the post and I thought that was interesting that it seems like they're giving their season ticket holders kind of an exclusive at some of the stuff.
And you know what? And that's I don't fault them for that, because you're trying to engage season ticket holders, and I'm betting the amount of season ticket holders that are interested in jerseys are relatively small.
Sure.
Or you're introducing more people that don't know about them into it.
Yeah.
The other sale that happened within the past week, Calgary Flames jerseys, they were posted, and a lot of them went quick, as always. But they are really good too. They have when you go to their page, at the top of the Game Worn page, they have the full list and jersey details of all of them. Wow. And the pricing and everything is there. And of course, the big names and the reverse retros and stuff went, but there's still a good amount out here.
Yeah.
And I don't know the Flames roster well enough to know if some of these are great or not, but like Huberdeau away, set 1 with A's, $1,500.
That's a good price for a superstar player. I mean,
right. Some with A, some without. Kadri's $1,500 if you're a fan of him. Lindholm's at $1,000.
Did they have any Kachucks?
No, those went. But
the year before.
Oh God, they went instantly.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Let me see if they had the original sheet, if it still lists them on there, or they were gone. I'm betting it didn't even make the.
Yeah, he's like the hottest, probably one of the hottest guys in the NHL.
But yeah, I'm trying to scroll through this quick, but they, the reverse retros, their pricing was, it's called Pedestal Set 1, which I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
Some of the reverse retros started at $450.
That's a good price. I mean, it's fair. You know,
Huberdeau $1,600, Backlund $8, Mackenzie Weegar $6.
All things considered, with what with what we deal with and what we know with Blues prices, I mean, those are all, fairly cheap.
And they used to post, and I don't know if I haven't seen a comment on it. The Flames used to also post all the leftover game worn equipment and that online, and I don't know that they do that anymore, or you have to email them for it. Flames, any of the Flames fans out there listening to this, send me that info, because I used to order stuff from them, because I think if you spent $100 or $200, it was free shipping. Well, hell, I'm ordering in the US, so I'm getting the exchange rate plus free shipping. That was a really good deal to get skates or socks or sticks or whatever, helmets, whatever, because sometimes I don't mind what if I'm skating in other team stuff, just because the gear's good. Pro stock gear is good stuff. So
it's better than what you're going to buy at, regular sporting goods store for money. So I get it.
So again, the everybody's like, why aren't you talking about the all the different specialty jerseys and warm-up jerseys? We will. Next week, there's going to be a big round table with 4 to 5 of us. We're gonna play the audio from Commissioner Bettman. We're going to break this down, because even reading through the game worn pages, reading through other NHL pages, there's some misinformation, because people are reading the damn headline and stopping there. Please.
Well, we seem to have a problem with
read the whole damn thing.
You wouldn't say, I mean, that's not a problem that we have throughout all of our society.
Right. As somebody that did talk radio and politics for 6 years, I'm well aware of that.
I mean, the only thing I'll say with it is what you just said, because I'm going to hold off my comments until next week. But, I think that the biggest thing that people need to realize is, I think the NHL is doing some damage control as far as on ice, but they're also still, if you read the article, they're still providing the opportunity for this stuff. So, I mean, it's going to be fun to hear what people's opinions are, because, the warm-up debate as far as collectors go has always been kind of a hot topic, because, for me, there's always been the difference between fan bidding and collector bidding. And warm-up jerseys have always been one of those things that I always think falls really hard into that category, because the prices don't tend to make sense for collector versus fan. And I'll leave it at that till next week.
And in a lot of cases, any of those warm-up jerseys are going to whatever the charity is designated for that particular thing, be it.
I hung a couple behind me.
Yeah, be it military, be it hockey fights cancer, and
Yeah.
some teams raise huge amounts of money. The only and again, we'll get into the overall debate of this whole thing, but one of the other breakdowns to understand, if you've not read this stuff or listened to Bettman's topics, the teams will still do it. Jerseys won't be worn in warmups. They can still do jerseys, and the players can do something else with them if they
The
do.
theme nights aren't going anywhere.
No, it's just you will not see jerseys on ice. And again, we'll break this down a whole lot more next week. It's going to be a very lively debate. I've locked in most everybody. And if you're listening to this and would like to see about maybe joining us, we have a spot or two. Reach out to me, see if we can make it work. I don't want to load it up with too many people because I want to make sure we get a broad range. One of our regulars, Justin, will be joining us. He's actually has a background in marketing, so his expertise from that will come into play as well. Again, this will be a lively debate. We don't normally do. We usually do the podcast every 2 weeks. There'll be this one. There'll be one next week, and then crank through some more stuff. But yeah, I didn't want to come into this quick, and we didn't have some people available, so I wanted to make sure, as I put in a message to Paul, a cooling off period, as it were, so we can all digest this stuff, kind of also watch the comments for the next week,
gather our thoughts,
and gather our thoughts, put things together, and have a really good, solid discussion, and not just off the cuff as much with this dropping at 3:00 this afternoon. Gonna be
interesting.
Yeah. So any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight?
I mean, just enjoying the off season. Again,
I think draft is this weekend.
Oh, the draft. Yeah,
in
the
Nashville
draft
and the NHL awards.
I think the draft is going to be wild, especially I think that, the cap. I mean, the one thing Bettman mentioned was the cap's going to go up like $4 million. He's predicting $4 million next year.
Which is helpful because there was still talk early on of 1.
Yeah, so 4 will be huge. 4 is one more player. Is the way that's the way I kind of, for most teams, that's either 1 or 2 players.
Sure.
A little bit more depth. I think that, in reading it and looking at it and looking at the prospects, I think this is one of the deepest drafts in probably 10, 15 years at least. For me as a Blues fan, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on as far as, like what we're going to do with all these picks, how we're going to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're really that far off from being a playoff team already, with a couple smart moves and maybe a little bit of an adjustment to our play style and coaching, which is happening. So the draft, I always love the draft.
Yeah, well, we know where number 1's going. I mean, Bedard's going to Chicago.
Yeah. The only thing I pray on that, and this is terrible, but I keep seeing all these people who already have Bedard 98 jerseys, and I pray to God that kid decides to wear a different number.
Yeah,
because it'd be so funny for everybody who's like already had jerseys made. If all of a sudden the kid just decides he's wearing something different, that would be
sick
awesome.
or something.
Awesome. Yeah, it'd be so cool. Like I hate to be the guy. We said before the show started, I joked that I'm kind of an a-hole. So like, I guess the a-hole in me is like dying for that to happen.
Well, but you remember it even happened to our team.
Yeah.
The rumors of Lindros coming to St. Louis.
Yeah.
Because he actually did come to St. Louis to do medical evaluation and stuff.
Yeah.
People assumed because he was here, he was going to be on the team, and people had Lindros Blues jerseys made up.
So, and you'll remember at the expo, my expo in St. Louis, the guy who got one of the old equipment guys stuff had the 2 game issued prepared home and away jerseys. They're set tagged, that were made by, at the time it was Custom Crafted who did the Blues jerseys. He had, the equipment manager ended up keeping them, but he had the home and away because I guess that almost happened. Like that was like,
oh sure, it was that close.
Yeah. And so like, I mean, it was so close that they had jerseys prepped for whenever he arrived. So there was always a big debate about what those are, the value on them. It's still an issue jersey, but it's a great story jersey.
Right. We were this close.
Yeah, it's always funny, like I hate to be the guy who's terribly excited that he picks a different number, but to me that would be
right.
Be pretty great.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, it'll be an interesting weekend because I think it's the first in a while where it's both the NHL awards and the draft together at the same place, because usually the awards are in Vegas.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think the I think the NHL is trying to make that like a traveling show.
And I'm good with that, especially it would have
Yeah.
been a little awkward. Hey, the awards are right where the cup was won. Look at that.
Yeah, no kidding. I would be a little wild. I think it's neat that they're doing like a traveling show with the draft, and they're doing, if they do continue to do the awards the same way, I think that'll be neat because that's a great way for different cities to get introduced
sure.
to introduce maybe a little bit more to some talent. Man, you tired? Come on.
Dude, I was traveling all week and playing catch up on work. It's one thing after another.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I'm excited. You almost forgot to talk about the draft. I'm very excited for the draft. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be neat to see.
Oh, sure.
Because right now, if you are one of those guys that follow NHL rumors, there is a ton of discussion about moves. Not with all the franchises. With Philly getting a new GM. A lot of free agents that are interesting places that didn't work out really well. The Patrick Kane thing with his hip. Tarasenko didn't do very well in New York. There's a lot of talk about the fluidity of Arizona's lineup. There's a lot of other teams that are, cap, new GMs. I mean, Toronto. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can just look across the league and see that there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of teams dancing with the cap. I mean,
sure.
You've got Florida. You've got, you've got the Avs.
The $4 million will help a lot of teams, but I know there's some that are still over the cap because of
things. I mean, the projections of a lot of these things. So here it's always a fun couple days to see who moves and who ends up where, and if your favorite guy ends up where you want him. And I keep seeing all this Clayton Keller stuff to St. Louis, which would be that'd be incredible. I mean,
right?
But we'll see. That's the fun of it. That's why we do this. That's why we do our podcast.
Of course. And I don't want to miss mentioning this because again, it was last week with things going on, is congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights. I was a little sad that the game was not a little bit closer. Yeah. But again, still a great run for both teams. And I do like seeing teams that have not been to the finals and a team that's not even been in existence that long. My biggest thing will be is when those cup jerseys are released, where the prices are. I'm betting those will be batshit insane.
Absolutely. They're migrate, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
Are they migrate?
No, they're not anymore. They're not.
No, they are in-house.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that's going to be crazy.
Because it'll be okay. How many?
And Florida's in-house too. So
yep. How many did they wear? All of those kind of things we'll have to figure out. And again, if any Vegas insiders have this knowledge, reach out to mention it or put it out there. But I did want to not.
It was a great playoff season. Like I had mentioned it earlier. For us as Blues fans, not having the Blues in it made it kind of fun to watch a lot of other teams without being invested in it. I don't want that to become something I'm regularly used to, but for 1 year it was kind of fun. And like you said, Florida would have been. I liked Florida a lot. When you heard the list of injuries and what some of those guys played through, like, I think they just ran out of juice. I think they had to work so hard to get there, and I think guys got so banged up. It just seemed like they didn't have enough. And here, I hate to say it, and I'll probably get flack or you'll get flack on this, but Vegas is another one of those teams that danced their cap self into it, right. And were able to really maximize the amount of players they had, and had guys come in really fresh and really healthy. And I think that makes a big difference for the playoffs. Right. Until the NHL does something about it, it's not going away.
So yeah, we'll see what those prices are, and I think they'll be insane because some of their regular game jerseys are stupid high. So these will be, and we'll see if they sell out or not. They might, or they may sit. You just never know. I mean, there's a lot of money in Vegas too.
A lot of money in Vegas, but I don't know how huge the collecting market is yet. If there's a ton of us,
cup jerseys, everybody seems to.
Everybody wants one.
Those. Yep. All right. Anything else?
You're the man, Doc.
All right, you enjoy, and we will see you guys back next week with the big warm-up jersey debate.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
Let's get a sound effect.
We'll see you guys next time.
See you, buddy.